Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, and we're part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. And thank you, everybody, for joining me again this week. It's always good to be here to talk a little bit about Impact Wrestling and what went down in the week of Impact Wrestling, as this is, of course, the Impact Wrestling edition of the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. So naturally, we're going to talk about Impact Wrestling. But before I get started, I want to give a nice little thank you. I reached a milestone this week on Twitter. I hit my follower number 2,000. So I just want to thank number 2,000. Let me pull him up here. 1 second. It's at Ty Reedman. So that's at TYREAD man. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being number 2,000. Really appreciate it. Again, that's at TYREAD man. So that's at Ty Reedman. He is the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast Twitter follower number 2,000. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to hitting 3,000, which I hopefully will hit during the course of this year at some point. So thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate everybody following me and listening to me. Just like I said, it's a blast doing this podcast, and thank you. That's all I got to say is thank you. So we had I was looking for some news this week in Impact Wrestling. I really couldn't find too much news. I did see that Jeremy Barash had been replaced in the broadcast booth. As we know, Jeremy Barash last week he jumped ship to the WWE, which perfectly understandable. But jumped ship and he was replaced in the broadcast booth. Boost. Yeah, he's replaced in the. It's like a tongue twister, like in the broadcast boost. He was replaced in the broadcast booth by Sanjay Dutt. So as it appears right now, Josh Matthews and Sanjay Dutt are calling the shots. Play-by-play shots for Impact Wrestling. So there you go. I was trying to get some news on like Jeff Cobb and maybe some new signings, but I really couldn't find anything online. So I'm sure they're looking. I know Impact Wrestling. They were in the UK scouting a UK talent. So hopefully they could find some decent UK talent to bring over to Impact Wrestling, because I know I know there's a lot of good talent out in the UK. So hopefully they can find some decent talent. And if they look at Nathan Cruz, I know Nathan Cruz is a really good talent out there, and a lot of good talent. I think could probably fit in well with Impact Wrestling. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing who they find and who they bring over. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Before I get started, I have a few things I want to talk about. Before I get into we had the regular show, and we had the big Brace for Impact show, which was on Impact Wrestling's Twitch channel, which debuted this week. Well, not the Brace for Impact debuted this week. It aired this week. Not the channel. The channel's been around for a few weeks now. But I want to talk about a few things actually that's kind of bugging me that I've been reading. But before I do, I just want to say I was diagnosed with the type 2 diabetes, and I just want to say it's going well. Changed my diet completely, and I lost 7 pounds. So let's give Louis Carlin a little ovation there. I'm cutting out carbs. I'm cutting the sugar. Changing my diet. So I'm changing. It's tough though, because I love pizza. Pizza is like my weakness, and fortunately I haven't really had pizza for about 3.5 weeks now, and I'll be honest, man. I'm dying for a slice of pizza, but I gotta get my blood sugar down, and the A1C levels right now 6.9, and I need to get it down to at least 6.4. So that's the first goal. But I'll drop 7 pounds. I feel great. Cut out all the white rice, all the white pastas. Everything is whole grain this, whole grain that. A lot of water, no more pop. So I'm doing it, and Hopefully I could get there. Hopefully I could get there. This diabetes thing is going to be for life, unfortunately. Just have to manage it properly, and I'll be okay. And there'll be plenty more podcasts coming from Lewis Carlin. So don't worry, I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. But anyway, so as I said, I want to talk about, you know, something's been bugging me. I know Impact Wrestling, they tape in advance. They tape a number of weeks of shows in advance. And EC3 is on a lot of those shows, and it's a well-known fact. Everybody knows he's now with NXT, he signed with NXT, and Impact Wrestling is they're promoting advertising matches with EC3 still, because they film matches with EC3, and they have every right to advertise matches with EC3. Like this week, we had the Fatal 4-Way match between Moose, Johnny Impact, Alberto El Patron, and EC3 to determine the number one contender for Austin Aries' Global Impact title. And again, the match was filmed before he signed with NXT. Impact Wrestling has every right to show these matches, but for some reason, this is angering a shitload of fans, and I don't know why. Every time they advertise on Twitter, advertise on Instagram or Facebook that an EC3 match is coming up for the week. For example, the Fatal 4-Way match, everyone is all up in arms. I see, Impact needs to just die already. Impact needs to go away. He's in NXT. How could you be doing that? He's not in Impact anymore. And people are getting so upset, and it's quite humorous, actually, just to see how people are getting so upset, all because Impact Wrestling is advertising matches with EC3 that they have every right to be doing, despite the fact that he's in NXT. And some of these posts are absolutely just ridiculous. And I wrote a few down. I wrote 3 down. Actually, I wrote 2 down. Actually, that really kind of bugged me. Somebody said, "It's okay, everybody." It's okay, everybody, that Impact Wrestling is advertising matches with EC3. It was a good start to the post, but then he said Triple H is allowing Impact Wrestling to use EC3 footage because he heard it on a podcast. So this guy heard on a podcast that Triple H is giving Impact Wrestling permission to use footage involving EC3, matches involving EC3. So Triple H, because he heard it on a podcast. So he heard it on a podcast, so it has to be true, right? He heard it on a podcast, so it has to be true. So Triple H is giving Impact Wrestling permission to show these EC3 matches. I wonder if Vince McMahon is also giving Impact Wrestling permission to show Bobby Roode matches, to show past AJ Styles matches. I wonder if Vince McMahon is giving them permission too, because they Impact Wrestling to show matches that they own. They need to get permission from Vince McMahon and Triple H. This is the most ludicrous. One of the most ludicrous posts that I have ever read in my life, and I responded to it. I'm not saying any names. I'm not calling anybody out here on the air, but it was the most ridiculous post I've ever seen. It's so stupid. Triple H has given Impact Wrestling permission to use the EC3 footage because he heard it on a podcast. And when I responded, his response to me was, "Well, I guess you don't listen to podcasts, huh?" So I don't know if he was screwing around with me, or if he was messing with me, but I think he was being very serious. I think that whoever that guy was being very serious about the podcast. Then another person posts, and I thought this was funny as well, says that Impact needs to go away. I'm glad EC3 is in NXT because I hate pre-recorded wrestling shows. So he's glad EC3 is no longer in Impact Wrestling, but in NXT because he can't stand pre-recorded wrestling shows. Oh, Jesus. Are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? Do you even know anything about professional wrestling? NXT is pre-recorded just like Impact Wrestling is pre-recorded. So, people need to get their heads out of their asses. Get outside, get a breath of fresh air, do something. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. And so many people seem so furious, like I said earlier, that Impact Wrestling is advertising EC3 matches. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's so irritating. And it's irritating me to a point where I'm responding, and I'm responding to people, and I'm respectfully getting into it with them, because normally I don't. If someone posts something, I just let it go. But this is getting so stupid. It's getting so stupid. As a matter of fact, this is an exact quote from EC3 on why he left Impact Wrestling. Okay, it's an exact quote that's online by EC3, why he left Impact Wrestling. And I quote, "My decision to leave Impact has nothing to do with their business or finances, and everything with me wanting to challenge myself to something new. Leaving Impact was a difficult decision as I had 6 months left on a very lucrative and talent-friendly contract. Anthem lived up to that contract and always treated me with utmost respect as a businessman and person." That's coming from EC3, case closed. If you got nothing better to do with your life but to sit at home and wait for Impact Wrestling to advertise the EC3 match so you could get angry, you need to do something else, man. You need to get you need to get up out of your seat, go outside, go for a walk, go for a run, go meet people. Just stop getting so angry that Impact Wrestling is advertising matches that they have every single right to advertise. And that's that. And I'm gonna stop at that. You heard the quote from EC3. There you go. Okay, so anyway, I got that out of the way. I want to go on a little rant there. So we had 2 shows this week to talk about. 2 shows. We had the regular Impact Wrestling show from Orlando taping, and we had the Brace for Impact show, which is an Impact Wrestling WrestlePro collaboration taped in Rahway, New Jersey, which was shown on Impact Wrestling's Twitch TV channel. And we're going to run down both shows, wrap it up, and do this all again next week. Okay, so the show actually this week actually opened up with a recap of last week's show, showing Austin Aries winning the title. And then we find out the main event is to determine the number 1 contender, EC3 versus Moose versus Johnny Impact versus Alberto El Patron. And as I said earlier, we find out that Sanjay Dutt is on commentary with Josh Matthews. So we have a new team, Josh Matthews and Sanjay Dutt on commentary, and that wasn't so bad. Dutt actually he did a decent job. Somebody responded to one of my my Twitter posts saying that Sanjay Dutt sucked, but I don't think he sucked. I thought Sanjay Dutt did a decent job, and we'll see where it goes. Between the two. I personally would love to see Don Callis actually join commentary because he's absolutely fantastic for New Japan. But right now, Josh Matthews, Sanjay Dutt, we'll give them an opportunity, and we'll leave it at that. We opened the show with a match, actually, right away with a match. It was funny because this week I was actually thinking, who I haven't seen in a while, El Hijo de Fantasma and El Tejano Jr., 2 very, very talented wrestlers, AAA promotion, and haven't seen them in a while. And I was thinking, I wonder what's going on. I would love to see them back on Impact Wrestling. And first match this week was Taiji Ishimori and Matt Sydal taking on El Hijo de Fantasma and Rohit Raju, who is formerly Hakeem Zayn, now a member of the Desi Hit Squad. will be making their debut officially in the upcoming weeks. But Sanjay Dutt, Josh Matthews, they spoke about the Desi Hit Squad for a bit and how Rohit Raju is a member of the Desi Hit Squad. So they plugged it. Desi Hit Squad got a little plug, so they're coming. And more new talent, and we're looking forward to that. Desi Hit Squad. I spoke about them a little last week. But the match again, I thought it was like a random match thrown together, but it was a very solid opening match, nonetheless. It was good back and forth action in the match. Ishimori hits a moonsault, nice moonsault. Raju did a suicide dive that I thought was great. Again, solid opening match. Again, kind of a random pairing, because I know Matt Sydal, he won the X Division title at one point, but now he's the Grand Champion. And there's really no connection between Phantasma and Raju. But yeah, just again, random match, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with a random match. Great match to kick off the show. They should have more matches like this to kick off the show, actually, because it was really good. And Ishimori and Sydal do wind up winning the match. Sydal hits a shooting star press on Raju for the victory. The only thing that concerned me a little bit, and it could just me just be thinking out loud or talking out loud, and I could be wrong, and but you got the Desi Hit Squad. Thinking out loud. No, I mean it's an opinion. I'm not really thinking out loud. It's an opinion I have. It's an opinion. This is my opinion. This is me giving my opinion. But you have the Desi Hit Squad, and they promoted the Desi Hit Squad, and they promoted the Desi Hit Squad on their website and on Twitter. Sanjay Dutt was kind of plugging them with Josh Matthews. Rohit Raju is going to be the main focus with Tony Page, who's Gurpinder Singh, I believe his name is. But anyway, Rohit Raju is going to be the main focus of the Desi Hit Squad, and he took the loss here. And he took the loss. To me, that kind of says, oh, Raju took the loss. To me, kind of the Desi Hit Squad may be starting on a negative note with Raju losing in this match. It would have been really cool to see Raju maybe get a surprise pinfall victory on Ishimori. Maybe go after the X Division title. That could have been something. Start on a positive note for the Desi Hit Squad, because this is the first time we're ever seeing anybody, a member of the Desi Hit Squad, even though the full team is going to debut in a few weeks. But start them on a positive note, not a negative note. That's the only thing that I was thinking about is starting the Desi Hit Squad on a little bit of a negative note here with Raju taking the loss. But don't get me wrong, Hakeem Zayn, Rohit Raju, very talented wrestler. He's done a great job so far in Impact Wrestling, and I'm looking forward to the Desi Hit Squad. Just would have been nice to see him to get a surprise victory over Ishimori, and maybe work his way towards a title shot. That's the only thing. So then from there, we got an Austin Aries interview backstage. It was kind of like a press conference. It was kind of more like a press conference interview. And after he won the title last week, and he says it's great to be back. He says he's kind of shocked to be champion again, and he's talking more, and Eli Drake appears, and they get into a verbal confrontation. Great segment. They argue back and forth. Eli Drake kind of says that he didn't get a contract for the match, alluding to that the match wasn't official. But Aries just tells him to get ready for the rematch, and he'll drop him on his head again. And we find out that next week Eli Drake gets his rematch, and it will be Austin Aries defending the Impact Global title against Eli Drake next week, and that's one match I'm really looking forward to. First match, of course, was just a quick, surprise, quick win for Austin Aries, but I'm looking forward to a full match. I say just let them go, give them 15-20 minutes. I think it could be a tremendous match. So I'm really looking forward to that match next week, in which Austin Aries defends against Eli Drake, the man he defeated for the Impact Global title. And then from there we get it's I guess they're really promoting here Austin Aries, because we got which was the Global Wrestling App Moment of the Week. We looked back at Austin Aries winning the TNA title for the first time. It was the TNA title back then against Bobby Roode. So they showed them again. They got to change the name of it, because they got to change the name. It's not really the moment of the week. A moment is like a 10-second moment, but this is a match. They showed there was like, again, another 8 to 10 minutes. So they should just call it the match of the week instead of the moment of the week. But anyway, I think I'll be saying this every single week. But this was the moment of the week. It's kind of played into, Bobby Roode is in WWE and Austin Aries is now in Impact Wrestling. So we're going to show Austin Aries defeating, I think Roode is the U.S. champion now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I think I read that somewhere. I don't follow WWE, so I'm not sure. But it's showing Impact Wrestling, Austin Aries getting a victory over Bobby Roode, who I believe is the U.S. champion. So it's good little promoting there. Good little smart promoting there. Our guys beat the WWE guy. So even though he used to be an Impact guy, he's now a WWE guy. But our guy beat him. So for the TNA title back then. So it's a good match. It was a good match. The crowd went nuts when Aries won back then. But yeah, good match. And actually moving forward, I'm not calling it the moment of the week. I'm calling it the match of the week. So that was the Global Wrestling Network app match of the week. Okay, and then after that we got the second match, which was the Cult of Lee. Caleb Conley and Trevor Lee, now a tag team, taking on a team called Tech, Monroe and Reed. Now, last week, Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley attacked LAX, and they stole their bandanas. They stole the bandanas of LAX. Now, think about that for a little bit, and I didn't touch upon it last week, but I'll touch upon it this week. They stole the bandanas. I mean, really, all LAX needs to do, since they're making all that paper, since they have the titles now, as per Conan, they have all that paper with the titles back. I think they could afford another set of bandanas. I don't think that's really that a big deal. I don't think LAX is really gonna care that the Cult of Lee has their bandanas. Like, okay, they have their bandanas. We'll just go out and buy more bandanas, basically. So to me, it's kind of dumb. They have them and they're parading in the ring. They were parading in the ring with the bandanas and like, hey, look at us. Look at us. I'm Trevor Lee and this is Caleb Conley and we have LAX's bandanas. So, but anyway, this match should have been a squash match. It should have been a complete squash match to put over Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley, but wasn't a squash match. Tech, who I've never seen before, Monroe and Lee, Monroe and Reed, they got some offense in. They got in some decent. Should I say? I don't know. Maybe they got some decent offense in, but this should have just been a complete squash match to put over Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. They did win. They did win the match, and it wasn't that bad of a match. But it should have been. This was kind of their in-ring debut as an official tag team, so they should have just mowed down or just completely run over these over the challengers. But anyway, that was my opinion. It was again, seeing a new tag team, which is fine. I'm always saying that. I've been always saying that. We need more tag teams in Impact Wrestling. But we don't need jobber tag teams, or which is basically what Tech were here. Even though they got in some offense, their job was to lose. They need to bring in more decent tag teams. Starting with Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. Fine, they're a tag team now. Cult of Lee. So then Tech, maybe they'll get a little push. I don't know, but they need more tag teams anyway. But afterwards, LAX they come on video screen and they sent a video message to Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. Conan cut a promo on them. LAX music's hits and Lee and Conley they leave the ring. They looked a little concerned when the music hit, but they took off, and that was the end of that segment. So we are going to be getting Lee and Conley eventually against Santana and Ortiz, and there's no way Santana and Ortiz should lose the titles to Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. I hope it's a good program too between the two teams. Excuse me. Sorry. Just a little cough there. I hate doing podcasts and then you cough. It just anyway. It kind of screws up the it screws up the flow of the podcast. But anyway, okay, I'm past the coughing. I'm all past the coughing now. But anyway, so I hope it's a good match. I have a feeling that Caleb Conley and Trevor Lee are going to made to look like schmucks in the match. Tag team match, it's the inevitable title match that they're going to be getting. But again, Trevor Lee, come on, he's one of the hottest rising young stars, extremely talented. He should be the X Division champion. He should be getting that push. He should be the unbeatable X Division champion right now. But I'm not going to go on that rant. Right now. Anyway, so after that, we see Kiera Hogan in the back, and Allie shows up, and she says that she has Kiera Hogan's back this week, and then we find out that Allie gets delivered a giant card. She opens it up, and it's a giant Valentine's Day card, and it says that she has a secret admirer who wants to meet her at the Impact Zone next week. Okay, so Allie has a secret admirer, and we're going to find out who it is next week in the Impact Zone. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so... Oh, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep all week, thinking, who is this secret admirer? It's either going to be Braxton Sutter or, I don't know, who could it be? Trying to think... I don't know. If it's maybe it'll be Braxton Sutter. Maybe it's Braxton Sutter's his way back into Impact Wrestling. I don't know, but we'll find out next week. And I'll be honest, I'm not really all that excited about seeing who Allie's secret admirer is next week. But anyway, then we have Moots. What's this? Like I can't speak today. Moose. Call him Moots. Moose. Moose cut a promo backstage. He had a backstage interview. Says that he's going to be the next number one contender for the Impact title. Says he's going to win that Fatal 4-Way match later on in the show. Then we got the Knockouts title match. The champion, Laurel Van Ness. Laurel Van Ness taking on the woman who beat her last week, who stole a victory. But they made it seem like that, I say they, Matthews and Sanjay Dutt made it seem like, she won that victory. It was a great debut for her last week. She got the victory over Laurel Van Ness. She kind of stole the victory because Allie kind of came out and distracted Laurel Van Ness. So then Kiera Hogan kind of took advantage. So Kiera Hogan kind of stole the victory last week. It wasn't, she got a surprise win. She stole the victory last week because Van Ness was distracted. But Kiera Hogan getting the title match this week. Hogan gets a proper introduction last week. She was just in the ring with no proper introduction, but she got the proper introduction. She got to walk down the ring ramp to the ring, and we had our match. Laurel Van Ness defending against Kiera Hogan, and it was an okay match. Hogan got in some decent offense, but in the end, Laurel Van Ness retains with the Unprettier, and I gotta say, there was a post-match attack as well. Laurel Van Ness post-match attack, attacking Hogan, and of course Ali comes out, makes the save, and Laurel Van Ness bails, so she leaves the ring. But I gotta say, I like this Kiera Hogan. She has a great look. The red hair, the outfit, the fire outfit, really, really good. She's going to make a terrific addition to the Knockouts division in Impact Wrestling. Really, really, really like to see what they're going to be doing with her next. I really hope that she doesn't disappear for 6 months and then shows up again. I hope they do something with her because she has a lot of potential. I know my boys Nick and Myron, Tap That Wrestling Podcast Network, they do the weekly news show. Big fans. They've been big fans of Kiera Hogan for quite some time, and always praising her. I really hope they do something meaningful with her, get her into a meaningful feud, and I can see her being the Knockouts champion down the line. Great stuff, great potential there. Great to see her in Impact Wrestling. So great job there, Kiera Hogan. If you're listening, Kiera Hogan, I just want to say thumbs up, great job. That would be awesome if Kiera Hogan was listening and she actually tweets a message saying, "I listened." So actually, Kiera Hogan, if you're listening and you are listening, let me know by tweeting to me by saying, "Lewis, that's Lewis. I listened to the show." That's I'm at PWSOTH. So I'm gonna be looking for that actually. So Kiera Hogan, if you're listening, if you're listening to my praise of you, I tweet, I listen to your praise of me, Lewis, at PWSOTH. So I'll be looking for that, Kiera. I'll be looking for that this week. Okay. So then from there we got a video. We got a video of OVE. They were watching Bobby Lashley. So Bobby Lashley has left his card. I guess he's walking somewhere. I don't know if he's walking to the gym or if he's walking to a 7-Eleven to get a Big Gulp or something. But they're watching him behind the wall, and they're watching Bobby Lashley walk somewhere. Then we get a Brian Cage video. Brian Cage debuting next week, and I gotta tell you, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Brian Cage to debut on Impact Wrestling next week. So next week, Brian Cage debuts on Impact Wrestling, and I am so freaking psyched for that. That's going to be so awesome next week. Then we get a EC3 backstage interview. Now this was interesting. I think he kind of knew, or they knew. Maybe Impact executives at EC3 knew that he's going to NXT because this promo was a little interesting. I thought it was kind of comical. He says that he's speaking about the number one contenders match, but he said that he's the best guy here, there, and everywhere, and he doesn't plan to leave until he becomes the EC3 time world champion. Just when he said he's the best guy here, there, and everywhere, kind of making a reference to he's the best here. Impact, he's the best there, at NXT and everywhere. So it was kind of interesting. Like I said, it's almost like they knew where he was going, and they said, let's make this interview fun. So it was a fun little interview there with EC3. Then we get a video package. We get a video package of Austin Aries and Eli Drake. Then we get Jimmy Jacobs, and he's with Congo Kong, and they cut a promo on Joseph Park, and they want Abyss, so they're pushing for Abyss. So again, there's no real build up here except little tiny segments where Jimmy Jacobs kind of shows up and says we want Abyss, or he approaches Joseph Park and says where's Abyss, so there's no real mega build up here for this Congo Kong Abyss match which is upcoming, but we'll see. So it was a really quick segment, but anyway, just the average fan, I would say they're not really all that psyched, or really, hey, that's the second time I used the word psyched in the past 30 seconds. But anyway, I don't think they're really kind of pumped up for this potential feud that's coming. But anyway, from there we had a Seidel and Ishimori backstage interview. Seidel talks about the win with Ishimori and reveals next week that Ishimori will be defending the X Division title against El Hijo de Fantasma. So next week Fantasma gets a shot, and that's going to be another incredible match that I can't wait for. Ishimori defending against Fantasma. But when you think about it, Trevor Lee really hasn't exercised his rematch clause for some apparent reason. So hopefully soon. I know he's involved with LAX, got their bandanas, and he's parading around with their bandanas. But we'll love to see Ishimori against Trevor Lee rematch for the X Division title. But next week, Fantasma gets a shot. Against Taiji Ishimori, which is going to be, like I said, a tremendous match. Then we go back to OVE. Bobby Lashley is returning to his to his car. I guess he got his big gulp, or he's done working out wherever he was going. 7-Eleven, like I said. Again, I don't know. Maybe he went to McDonald's to get a cafe latte. I don't know where he was, but anyway. But they attacked Bobby Lashley in the parking lot. All three of them, and they put him in the trunk of his car, and they lock it, and Sami Callihan goes thumbs up, thumbs down. So the OVE Bobby Lashley feud has begun, and I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to OVE and Bobby Lashley feud. I wonder if Lashley is gonna bring in some friend. Maybe he'll recruit Moose to be his partner or something, or maybe Eddie Edwards. I don't know, but OVE now feuding with Bobby Lashley, so that could really be a hot and heavy feud. We all know Bobby Lashley is no longer with Impact Wrestling, and so. But it's gonna be a good little feud between OVE and Bobby Lashley, and we'll see what happens next week. I'm sure Lashley will try to get some sort of revenge next week. So we'll keep our eye on that feud, because it to me it doesn't get thumbs up, thumbs down. To me it just gets thumbs up. So it's thumbs up for me on the OVE Bobby Lashley feud. Then we had another Knockouts match. We have someone who was recently fired, although she claims that she quit, but doesn't matter. Either way, she's no longer with Impact Wrestling. Hanaya the Huntress against Amber Nova. It was okay. It was okay. It was I don't know. It was, they really should be pushing Amber Nova. Amber Nova with Impact Wrestling, really, first of all, she's she's built from the garage, and I'm going to be talking about Brace for Impact soon. But they have Habib, who's built from the car wash, so it would be interesting if we saw Habib from WrestlePro from the car wash teaming up with Amber Nova of Impact Wrestling from the garage. So that would be an interesting tag team. And I'll make that reference again shortly when I talk about Habib at the Brace for Impact show. So we have Hanaya and Amber Nova. I like Amber Nova. She got in some really good offense. This was 50-50. You would think that Hanaya, who was making her debut, her wrestling debut for Impact Wrestling. We saw her attacking Rosemary a few weeks back, but she's making her actual match debut for Impact Wrestling here. You would think that she would have run over the opposition, but no, this was 50-50. Amber Nova got some good offense. I like Amber Nova. I want to see more of Amber Nova. She could be a good addition to the Knockouts roster. So I like to see more of Amber Nova. But after the match, Hanaya did win the match eventually. So, but post-match, Rosemary comes out and attacks Hanaya to get revenge for the attack Hanaya made on Rosemary back in Ottawa, the Ottawa tapings. So actually I was thinking as well. Where is Taya Valkyrie? I miss Taya Valkyrie. I thought she was the most talented woman on the roster, or one of the most talented women on the roster. She was a terrific addition to the Knockouts roster, to the Impact Wrestling roster, and I miss Taya Valkyrie. I hope she comes back. I really hope she comes back. Because it's hard to get into this feud between Hanaya and Rosemary, knowing that Hanaya is no longer with Impact Wrestling. Because Rosemary, I don't even know if they had a match. I don't even know if they had a if they're having a match, Rosemary and Hanaya. But Rosemary did attack, but Hanaya did escape. But where's Taya Valkyrie? Please, bring back Taya Valkyrie. And that's all I got to say about that. I want Taya Valkyrie back in Impact Wrestling ASAP. ASAP, bring back Taya Valkyrie. Let's get the Taya Valkyrie Rosemary feud going again, because that's a great feud right there. But anyway, then from there, we had our number one contenders match, which was, as I stated, Moose versus EC3 versus Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Impact. And this was a very, 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 very good main event, in my opinion. Again, you have this talent, Moose, EC3, Patron, and Impact. You're going to have a great match. And that's what we had. Lots of great spots. Everyone got in some really good offense. Moose did legitimately hurt his knee in this match, but you gotta really hand it to Moose, because he got back up and he finished the match. He didn't leave. He got back up. He went back into the ring and he finished the match. And apparently he legitimately hurt his knee. But he came back apparently, and like I said, and continued the match, and we had some really, really good action. Again, some really good spots. But in the end, Johnny Impact, he does counter the one percenter, EC3, and rolled him up and got the victory over EC3. And Johnny Impact is the new number one contender for the Impact Global title held by Austin Aries. So again, terrific match. It was good to see EC3 take the loss here. Again, since he was on his way out from Impact Wrestling, and he knew he was on his way out, so he took the loss. Johnny Impact becomes a number one contender, and I can't wait for Austin Aries against Johnny Impact. I did hear about the match. I do know that they did face off already, and apparently it's a 5-star match from what I was reading. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Austin Aries taking on Johnny Impact for the Impact Global title. Again, great main event. And again, I applaud Moose for finishing the match despite the fact that he had injured his knee. And hopefully the injury is not too bad, and he's back really, really soon. So that was Impact this week. And again, good show. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the show. And from there, we had the following evening on Twitch TV, Impact Wrestling Channel on Twitch TV, we had the debut of Brace for Impact, which was a joint Impact and WrestlePro show, which took place in Rahway, New Jersey. WrestlePro is based out of New Jersey, of course. And I gotta say, I watched the whole show, and I'm gonna go through match by match. But overall, I gotta say, I don't like to use the word disappointed, but I was a little disappointed. And the reason being is that we didn't get the Tenille Dashwood Angelina Love match. I was really looking forward to seeing the return of Tenille Dashwood, aka Emma, in the WWE. She's making her debut. It was her return to wrestling after the 90-day. The 90-day clause had expired in her contract, the non-compete clause. So I was really looking forward to seeing that, but that match wasn't part of the show, which was a little disappointing. But anyway, we could go on. We'll talk about we'll go through. There was a number of matches, and the production value actually, the production value wasn't really that good. It obviously was handled by WrestlePro, and WrestlePro doesn't have the money that Impact Wrestling has. Impact Wrestling, they could have got involved a little bit, in my opinion, and added to the production value. I mean, it was really dark. Some portions of the match there outside the ring, it was really dark. It was hard to see. And whenever there was an in-ring promo, it was very, very hard to hear the wrestlers speaking as well. So it was a little disappointing. But it's always fun to see talent I've never seen before, and that's what I saw here. Some of the talent was really good. Some of it, they're a little green. They need work, in my opinion. But then again, who am I? I'm just a fan with a podcast, right? So, but yeah, it's just my opinion. So anyway, so we had the opening match. The opening match was KM, Chris Steeler, and Talon. They make up a WrestlePro team called Reality Check. They took on Delroy, Habib, who's built from the car wash, who I think would make a great partner for Amber Nova, who was built from the garage, and CAQ. I think they said it's Christopher Avery Quinling, I think was the full name, but we'll call him CAQ because I thought it was Quinley, and then I thought it was Quint, then I thought it was Quinling, so I'm not exactly sure what the last name was, so we'll just call him CAQ. So CAQ, apparently, well, not apparently, he's the WrestlePro Gold Champ. So we had the match. The match started with KM tosses Habib into the corner, kind of like a rag doll. The match was okay. It was some good action. This Delroy had some potential, some nice power moves, had some back and forth action, but in the end, CAQ gets the win over one of the members of Reality Check. It wasn't KM, and then post match we have KM beating down CAQ, and then challenges him for the gold title, and then CAQ says it's going to be a cage match, and KM doesn't like this, and KM is like, oh no, not a cage match. But CAQ was like, yeah, that's what I want. I want a cage match. So apparently it's going to be a cage match between CAQ and KM for the WrestlePro Gold title, which really, unless WrestlePro has a channel and they're going to show that match, I mean, it's unless I could fly down to New Jersey to see it, it really don't have much interest in that, right? Because I kind of wish they kind of left the storylines out of it as well, the WrestlePro storylines. Just have card of WrestlePro wrestlers against Impact Wrestling wrestlers, just one night only, like Impact versus WrestlePro. But anyway, I just thought having the storylines, the WrestlePro storylines, kind of part of this Brace for Impact show. I don't know, just for anyone who doesn't live in Jersey, if someone is watching like out in San Francisco, or if someone's watching in London, England, and they hear that CAQ and KM, they're gonna have a cage match. WrestlePro in New Jersey, it's meaningless, doesn't mean anything to them. So anyway, that's just my opinion on that. But then after that, Colby Covington comes out, in-ring segment, which was absolutely horrible. We had this guy coming out, Tyquil Woodley. I don't follow UFC. I think he's mocking Tyrone Woodley. I believe that's the gentleman's name. Comes out with a fake UFC belt. And we got a mock UFC fight, and they announce Colby Covington, and Colby Covington connects with a kick to Woodley, and Woodley goes down, and the fight's over, and Colby Covington is the winner of the mock UFC fight, and the only good part about the segment was when it ended, because it was just terrible. I know Colby Covington, who's in Impact Wrestling, part of the America Top Team, but this segment was just ridiculously bad. I didn't like it at all. Anyway, so then from there we went to it was supposed to be Chris Payne one-on-one with Matt Sydal, and I got excited. Okay, here we go. We got Matt Sydal taking on Chris Payne. I think Chris Payne's manager was someone named Shining Edward Jackson, I believe. So Chris Payne comes out with his manager. He's in the ring. It looks good. Looks has a good look for a wrestler. So I was like, all right, here we go. We could have a decent match here. Matt Sydal comes down, and he's immediately attacked by the Heavenly Bodies. This new Heavenly Bodies. I'm not sure what their names were. But they attack Matt Sydal, and for some reason this pisses off Chris Payne, because hey, I guess Chris Payne wanted that one-on-one match with Matt Sydal, but he wanted to, I guess, prove that he could take Matt Sydal by himself. But Heavenly Bodies, who were also managed by Edward Jackson, they come out, like I said, attack Sydal. Payne takes exception to that and gets pissed off and mouths off at the Heavenly Bodies and Edward Jackson. And apparently there's a break there now. Payne no longer doesn't want to be associated with Edward Jackson. And we find out that the one-on-one match is now a tag team match. As Chris Payne says, you know what? Why don't we have a tag team match? I got Sydal, and we'll take on the Heavenly Bodies. And I'm not sure who their names were. But so then we had the one-on-one match, which I was getting excited about. It's become a tag team match. Chris Payne apparently is broken from the stable, and tag team match begins. The Bodies dominate Chris Payne, until he finally comes back and. Sydal gets the hot tag, and he's able to hit. I think Payne put down one of the Bodies, and Sydal just got tagged in, hit a shooting star press, and gets a 3 count, and that was it. So Matt Sydal was in the match for like maybe 15 seconds, and actually Scott D'Amore and Josh Matthews were on commentary, and Scott D'Amore kind of made reference to that. Oh, well, it looks like easy paycheck for Sydal this week. So I don't know if Sydal was hurt or he couldn't really. Compete in the one-on-one match, but 30 seconds of Matt Sydal, he's the Impact Wrestling guy, and you want to showcase him. You have people watching on this event on the Twitch channel, the Impact Wrestling Twitch channel. You want to showcase your guy, right? Not really the WrestlePro guy, so to speak. You can showcase him as well, but you want to showcase Matt Sydal, and all he did was hit the shooting star press, and that was the match. The match I could have done without. Match was okay. Nothing spectacular. And then from there we had match 3, which was Sean Donovan against Moose. And here we go. Finally, we had a good match. This was a decent match. WrestlePro, this is how it should have been. WrestlePro wrestler against an Impact Wrestling wrestler. So Sean Donovan, Moose, they went at it. Really, really good match. Sean Donovan is first time I've seen him as well, and he's got potential. He controlled most of the match. I would say he controlled about 85% of the match. Got in some really good offense. Really took it to Moose. But Moose, he does come back, hit a nice buckle bomb, but he wound up winning. He did the hesitation drop kick as well, I believe. But Moose comes back with a spear, taking a page out of Bobby Lashley's book, and wins the match over Sean Donovan with a spear. This was a very good match. This was the first good match of the evening, and this is how it should have been. Donovan versus Barry. Donovan versus Moose. Barry? What's wrong with who's Barry? Anyway, but yeah, Sean Donovan versus... Who is Barry? Sean Donovan versus Barry. Where would I get that from? Barry. I don't know. But anyway, Sean Donovan beats Moose versus Moose. A very good match. WrestlePro versus Impact. Like I said, this is how it should have been from the start. We should have gotten Chris Payne against Matt Sydal. But anyway, I had hope for the card after this match. And then we got to match 4, which was Nikos and Nikki taking on Braxton Sutter and Allie. And it was a decent match. It wasn't that bad of a match. I think it was Nikos Rikos and Nikki Rikos against Braxton Sutter and Ali. Nikos is not bad. He had an interesting ring attire, but it's not bad, not bad. And got a surprise win. The WrestlePro wrestlers won. Nikos Rikos, whatever his name is, and Nikki. Nikos hit a backstabber on Braxton Sutter for the win. We had decent back and forth action. We didn't see Nikki Adams or Nikki Nikos. I think she goes as Nikki Adams as well. We didn't see much of her, but Nikos. It's like a tongue twister. Rikos. But I'm just going to call him Nikos. Nikos has some potential. Surprising to see them get the win over Sutter and Ali. So Nikos and Nikki victorious over Braxton Sutter and Ali. And this is, like I said, this is how it should have been. This is how it should be going, right? The WrestlePro wrestlers against the Impact Wrestling wrestlers, and each of them share victory. So far, the match 3 and match 4 were pretty good. So I was up. I was like, yeah, all right, we're getting somewhere. And then let me go back and let me reiterate when I said in the beginning that I was a little disappointed. Match wise, I should have clarified. Match wise, I wasn't really disappointed. There was some good matches, and I'm gonna talk just the way it was, the production value, and it's kind of a little irritating, kind of a little disappointing the way it was. Well, I talked about that earlier on, but I just want to clarify that we did have some good matches. A lot of the matches were good, actually. Just the production was a little. Again, it's not. You know what? I already spoke about that earlier on. Let's move on. So then we went to the next match. It was supposed to be Bobby Wayward against Eddie Edwards. But Eddie Edwards was recently injured. He wasn't able to perform. So he came out. He did a promo, but you really couldn't hear him, because, like I said, the production value was really bad. You really couldn't hear what Eddie Edwards was saying. So then Bobby Wayward came out, and he got instant heat from the crowd, so he must really be one of the top heels there. We find out that Bobby Wayward was saying that I think he was saying that Eddie Edwards was scared and he's afraid to face him. But Eddie Edwards said he didn't come alone, and we find out that Teddy Hart is there, and the match is Bobby Wayward versus Teddy Hart. The match was decent. Teddy Hart controlled a lot of the match, but Wayward steals the victory from Teddy Hart. I did miss a portion of the match. I had to tend to something, so I did see some of it. I didn't see the whole thing, so I'm not going to say whether it was bad or good, but the portions that I saw were okay. Bobby Wayward sneaking in a victory kind of fits his character. So Bobby Wayward wins the match over Teddy Hart, and I'm thinking, they couldn't bring in another Impact wrestler. They couldn't bring in like a Trevor Lee or an Andrew Everett or somebody from Impact Wrestling. So they opted for Teddy Hart. But, I don't know. They could have brought another Impact Wrestling wrestler in my opinion. But anyway, Teddy Hart loses the match to Bobby Wayward. Match 6, we had Matt McIntosh versus Anthony Bowens versus Eli Drake in a triple threat match. And I gotta say, this was the best match of the show by far. Anthony Bowens, extremely talented wrestler, as is Matt McIntosh. All three of them meshed really well with Eli Drake being in the mix. The great triple threat match. All three got in some really good offensive moves, really good back and forth action. I really, really enjoyed this match. As I said, best match of the evening, best match of the whole show, I should say. Anthony Bowens does get the victory with a knee strike to McIntosh. for the 3 counts. It's smart, Eli Drake doesn't get the victory. See, this was a smart match. Put over Anthony Bowens, was an excellent talent, and it was apparent in watching the match that he's an excellent talent. But Eli Drake doesn't take the loss, so it doesn't really hurt Eli Drake. But Bowens defeats McIntosh, wins a triple threat match. Smart booking in this match. I think Anthony Bowens would love to see him in Impact Wrestling, and Matt McIntosh as well. I think they both would make an immediate splash in Impact Wrestling, given the opportunity. So great stuff. That was great match there. The match 7. Another thing with the production value was the camera was shaky, and I noticed this through a lot of the matches. The cameras were shaking, and it was getting a little. My head was like getting all screwed up at portions because of this shaky camera. But anyway, that's another thing that they need to work on. For the next, I know the next one is next month, where they're coming up here to Mississauga with Border City Wrestling and Destiny. So hopefully they'll see the shortcomings of this show, and they'll fix what they need to fix. But anyway, the next match was Alberto El Patron taking on Falaba. This was a very good match. I won't say great, but it was a very good match. Falaba hit some really nice big moves. I gotta say, he's very talented. He could be a major player in Impact Wrestling. They need to give him the ball and let him run with it. He did some sit-down splashes on Patron, almost got the victory, but Patron grabbed the ropes. His cross body splash is really good. Really talented wrestler, very talented wrestler. I'm a fan of Falaba, but in the end, Alberto El Patron did hit the double stomp for the win. And even though I'm a huge fan, and we're seeing a lot of him lately on Impact Wrestling, Falaba has yet to win a match in Impact Wrestling. And this was not Impact versus Impact. Falaba wrestles for WrestlePro, so he was representing WrestlePro in this match. But nonetheless, very good match. Would love to see, again, like I said, Ba to get that big push that he deserves and win a few matches finally. But anyway, from there we went to the main event, which was Johnny Impact against Dan Maff. I'm not going to talk much about this. It was okay. Nothing spectacular. I don't know. I just wasn't into this match for some reason. They had their back and forth action between the two, and in the end, Johnny Impact wins with Starship Pain, beats Dan Maff as he should have, and at the end, Impact praises Maff and shakes his hand, and then the show is over. And again, no Tennille Dashwood against Angelina Love, which was a little disappointing, but that was it. That was the card. That was the show. Again, production value was horrible. I'm sorry. They need to work on that. Impact Wrestling, Anthem needs to put some money into that next show, get better cameras, get better lighting. They need to work on that. So anyway, but match-wise, like I said, there were some really decent matches. Anthony Bowens, I would say, was probably the favorite wrestler I saw on the show that I have never seen before. You just watch him right away, and you can see that guy is freaking talented, and he's well on his way. And Impact Wrestling should jump on him immediately. But there you go, and that's it. That's it this week for Impact Wrestling. So until next time, I'm going to wrap it up and just say thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, the Impact Wrestling Edition, will be back next week, as always. And we'll talk more Impact Wrestling. Until then, take care, bye-bye, and stay safe, everybody. So long.